All right, so we're going to get started in a couple minutes, or actually in a minute or so. So as people are trickling in, just want to say a big thank you to our sponsors, Anchor Point, the Caruso Foundation, and Zayo. And also thank you all for all coming to this webinar. Even though we have to do it virtually, we're still thankful that we were able to have such a great show out for the webinar, and I know the students are excited to show their pitches. All right, Vanessa, are we ready to go?
Yes, we are ready to go.
Perfect. All right, so welcome everyone to the Startup Summer 2020 Pitch Night. We are all been waiting and dying for this night to come at the end of the summer. My name is Sarah Keller. I am the Managing Director of the Silicon Flatirons Startup Summer 2020. And I've had the privilege of working with the 35 participants for the 10 weeks. We've done Tuesday night seminars, we've done game nights, we've had individual meetings, team meetings. It's been a blast getting to know these students. But in the virtual format, they have worked hard, as well as in the middle of a pandemic with technology difficulties. These teams are going to be presenting pitches that have been worked on for 7 weeks. The program's been 10 weeks. We formed teams about the 3-week to 2-week mark. And so this is going to be showing a lot of hard work and effort on top of the internships they had, on top of the pandemic, and on top of any virtual and technical difficulties and time zone changes. Because these students are coming from all across this country, from different schools. We have age ranges from graduating high school recently to recent college graduates. And we are lucky and grateful to have all these students participating tonight. But don't just take my word for it on how great this program has been for these students. One of the students in our recent survey of the program said that the most valuable part of this program was making connections with some awesome people, learning where to start with a business, and it definitely helped her learn how to start her own business, the key components, and how to be successful. And she cannot stress enough how important this program is. So don't take the words from me, take it from some of our participants. We are excited for tonight. Before I hand off the virtual mic to Brad, I will do a quick roadmap of tonight. So the next slide. So for tonight, the agenda we have is we're going to hear from Brad Bernthal. Brad Bernthal has been an amazing mentor to me throughout my 1L year of law school, as well as throughout this summer. I am very grateful for him, as well as he is the one who leads all things entrepreneurship within Silicon Flatirons. So we are grateful to hear him talk in just a short little bit. And after we hear from Brad Bernthal, we will go into the meat and the greatness of tonight that y'all all came here for, is pitches and feedback. And so we'll hear the pitches, and we have a three judges panel that includes Jacqueline Freeman Hester, Vikas Reddy, and Hannah Wanderer. And then we'll wrap up the night with the Audience Choice Award poll, as well as an activity, and then the best ending of them all with the night is handing out the awards to all the teams, which goes to how we are going to break down the awards for tonight. Is that the Audience Choice Award that we will present a poll at the end of all the pitches will be a $1,000 award to the team who gets the Audience Choice Award, and then the 5th, 6th, and 7th places will get a $500 award, and those teams will not be ranked in any specific order. And then the 4th team will get $1,000, 3rd place will get $2,000, 2nd place $3,000, and 5th $5,000. So we have an amazing lineup, an amazing amount of prizes to give away, but something we've always talked about throughout the whole program is it wasn't ever always about the prizes and the money. It was about these connections and what these students have learned, and they are so excited to present what they've learned tonight. And I'm so glad that most of tonight is going to be about that. So if Brad, if you're on, you are welcome to take it away. I'll stop sharing my screen.
Awesome. Thank you, Sarah. Can I get a thumbs up if the audio is coming through okay? All right, that's great. So it wasn't until I got in here that I realized it's kind of appropriate that over my right shoulder, left on your screen, you'll see Rocky gracing the proceedings here tonight. I was reading through the exit feedback from the Startup Summer participants, and we thought at the outset about canceling this year's program. And I am so glad that we did not. I really couldn't be more proud of the team that you're going to meet tonight in terms of our leadership team from Silicon Flatirons, the individuals, the Startup Summer participants, the students that you're going to meet, as well as the mentors and guests from the community that have made this program so profoundly special, especially during these times in which this is more valuable than ever. There was just peril around every corner of Startup Summer this summer. There's so many ways that this program could have cratered. And the reality is it turned out to be an absolute powerhouse of a summer, a great experience for the vast majority of our students. And we've really rethought this summer about how to do some items in online education. I think has not just worked for this program, but as I think about my teaching and some of the things that we might be doing on campus soon, it's going to be influential to me. Additionally, I want to highlight Sarah Schnickrind, who runs student affairs for Silicon Flatirons. When we started this year's program, we had half of this year's Startup Summer participants placed in jobs. So a reminder to those who may not, who may know this and others may not, our Startup Summer participants are in internships in emerging companies and startups throughout the Front Range. And then during their nights and weekends, they build companies through Startup Summer, and we provide a platform for doing that. But at the outset of this summer, only half of the participants had jobs. And I am delighted to relay to you that we are now down to only 17% of our students did not find jobs. That is 83% placement. And in this brutal environment, I am just delighted that this program has had such an impact in placing a lot of students and great experiences. The game balls to go out before we get going are many. First, I want to start with our sponsors, Anchor Point, Brad Feld, Amy Batchelor, the Caruso Foundation, Dan Caruso, Cindy Caruso, and Zayo. When I spoke to them at the outset and said, you know what, we really should do this program, despite some skepticism, I think, by the sponsors, God bless them for just saying, you know what, go for it. Absolutely, go for it and having our backs. Really appreciate that belief. Our leadership team, you got to meet, you're going to hear from SK, Sarah Keller, throughout. She's a rising second year at Colorado Law School. She literally took this program over the first week of the program, has made it fully her own, has been totally invested in, has done a fantastic job. I also want to give a shout out to Natalie Garrett, who was going to be our managing director, got sick and could not take that role. Natalie's maintained connection with us. And Natalie, if you're out there watching tonight, great to have you with us. You really helped lay the foundation for this program. Sarah Schnickren, as I mentioned, runs student affairs, student programs for Silicon Flatirons. She has been gold. And also Vanessa Koppel, who is helping tonight with the IT and making sure the trains stay on the tracks, has been really a co-partner with SK in running events and has made a real, really moved the meter for us tonight. So thank you to them for making this a success. Now, on to the pitch night. First, the judges and our judging criteria. Reminder about tonight's format. Here's what we're in for. 7 teams. Each team gets a 5-minute video that they're going to pitch their teams with. And then we go live. And the judges are going to have 5 minutes of Q&A with the CEO or the designated individual from the team. So we're talking about 10 minutes a team. The judges are going to score on the following empirical criteria. I'm being a little facetious with that. Quality of presentation, concept and vision, quality of evidence and research. In other words, did you do some work? And the business components, have you thought through it, whether this business is going to work or not? There's also a miscellaneous bullshit category that I just like this team, and I'm going to give them some bonus points. That remains within the discretion of the judges. This is not a precise science of judging. You may disagree. Reasonable minds could differ. Of course, everyone likes to win, but the value in this has really been in the process, the relationships that are created over the years. We're now in year 8 or 9 of Startup Summer. We have launched a number of careers in emerging companies and startups, and that's where the real value is in this. I'm going to remind all the participants of the 24-hour rule. If you're not familiar with the 24-hour rule, here it comes. Here's what it is. You cannot bitch about the results for 24 hours. That's just the way this goes. You may not like it, but let it cool down. There's always going to be some disagreement. And if you really want to have a conversation on hour 25, you can reach out and we can have a calm conversation, but no angry emails, no complaining. Enjoy the night. It's going to be a lot of fun. That is the 24-hour rule. On to tonight's judges. First, a rookie judge from Zayo. She's the Senior Vice President for Customer Success and Digital Innovation. Please help me welcome Hannah Wanderer. Hannah, are you on?
I am, Brad. Thank you very much. It's great to be here tonight.
All right, Hannah, I think that I might be stealing some thunder from Sarah, but if you're comfortable with it, shorts, long pants, flip-flops, or shoes, what do you got rocking on the video tonight?
No shoes and pants, but they're appropriate for hiking or yoga.
All right, Hannah, great to have you with us. Thanks for joining. Our second judge is the co-founder and a board member at Occipital. In addition to knowing his way around technology, where his expertise is in visual recognition and perception, Vikas is one of my favorite people in the startup community to talk to. He likes talking to me because he regularly takes my money at poker. Please help me welcome Vikas Reddy. Vikas, same question to you. Are you comfortable giving us, we can see you from the waist up.
Yeah.
What do you got going tonight?
So, I actually switched into jeans just to feel more professional and pretend I was in front of an audience, or jeans, or as I like to call them nowadays, hard pants. I was definitely in the sweatpants earlier. And I just felt weird putting this a nicer shirt on with sweatpants. So, and then,
well, thanks for classing things up for us.
Yeah. Just wanted to keep it classy.
Great to have you with us. Our third judge is a returning judging veteran for Startup Summer Pitch Night. She is a principal with the Foundry Group. She's also a Kaufman Fellow, an alumna from CU with the JD and MBA. Please help me welcome Jacqueline Hester. Jacqueline, how you doing?
Hello, I am doing well.
What beach are you on?
I am out in Rhode Island. I'm falling into the ocean.
Right on. And are you sitting on a floaty or something over there?
Yeah, I'm just lounging out here with the hurricane coming. I'm wearing no shoes.
You thought about wearing your own floaties? That would be a nice touch for the judges.
I borrowed my daughter's. She has the full puddle jumper thing. It's pretty great. I have no shoes on, and I'm wearing athleisure pants, which are really just sweatpants, but they look.
All right, so just to keep it fair, place your bets now as to what I'm going with. But here we go.
Shorts.
I am going with.
Oh, white jeans. I should have known.
No, they're white pants, and they're like Saturday Night Fever white. I mean, the John Travolta fans out there, you got to be loving that. And I know who you are. So that's where I'm coming from for tonight's festivities. Let's get into it. All right, so we got 7 teams. Again, 5-minute videos, 5-minute Q&A. It's going to be a lot of fun. This first team reflects a lot of what we do in Startup Summer. It's got students from 4 different undergraduate institutions: Michigan, MIT, Cornell, and best of all, CU. Let me please introduce Team Viggs. Viggs, are you on? And take it away.
Hey, Yeah, very excited for this. Very excited for you guys to see what we've been working on.
Rock on, Dylan. Are you ready to rock?
Oh, yes.
All right. So I think we're going to start with the video. Good luck, Dylan.
Thank you.
So far, we don't have any audio. Teresa, is there any way we can get some audio going? Thank you for troubleshooting, Teresa. You're the best.
All right. So this is what we call dead air in the radio business, although I'm not really in the radio business. SK, while we're troubleshooting, any early tap dancing ideas?
Well, to go to the question that we sent all the judges, I am not wearing shoes, so I'm definitely not wearing tap shoes. But yeah, let's go to Vanessa. Vanessa, what are you wearing? Shorts, pants, or tap shoes?
I am wearing shorts because it's kind of hot in my house. And I'm also barefoot because it's the way to be.
Okay, so the spirit of entrepreneurship is blessed are the flexible, for they shall not be broken. We'll take another shot at the video and see if it works. And if not, we've told the teams to be ready to pitch their ideas. Let's take a shot.
Vigs, a virtual platform for comedians looking to engage with their audience in new ways. 90% of independent American venue owners will have to close permanently within the next few months because of the COVID-19 pandemic. Making connections with others is now more important than ever, and comedy shows are a place to do just that. We feel this sense of community and bonding as we gather in a room to watch a set. We all miss going to live shows, but that doesn't mean we can't create a new experience for comedians to connect with their fans. Twitch, YouTube, and other live streaming platforms don't help performers effectively monetize their shows, protect their intellectual property, or engage with their audience. With Vigs, comedians can easily monetize online sets, allowing them to perform for their fan bases and tap into new markets that they would otherwise have difficulty accessing. These virtual performances are called Vigs. Now, rather than just replacing a live show, Vigs creates a whole new experience for both the comedians and the audience. Vigs will not just be useful during the COVID pandemic, but also for years to come as an easier way for comedians to book shows and reach larger audiences. Comedians have been using Zoom, Twitch, and other live stream applications to host shows, but none are specifically designed for comedians. By designing a platform for the comic, we are able to monetize it in a way that benefits them as well as protecting the content they've created, so that it isn't infinitely shared, diminishing the value. This allows comics to make consistent money off of virtual performances, which is important to keep them coming back and continue utilizing the platform. Now, comedy comes in a variety of formats. Every comedian's act is different, so Vigs has made putting on virtual shows easy. As you can see from this image, we have streamlined the process for putting on live shows so that any performer is able to perform in this new medium. When it comes to monetization, we have a 3-tiered system. The higher the tier, the more features are available to audience members. Denver comedian Stephen Ajay was interested in the idea, so we gave him access to our platform and let him design his show. As you can see, his first tier is for admission to the show. The next tier adds in a signed copy of his debut album, and the final tier gives you access to personalized requests, which range from prank calls to comedy coaching. A ticket purchased from any tier is added to the bar above, which represents the minimum amount of revenue before the show is officially on. Since Vigs will be taking 10% of ticket sales, this guarantees the comic is clear on how much they will be making, and the show is monetarily worth it for them. This is Stephen Ajay, a stand-up comedian. Virtual fans to his show can see chats and reactions of the people they're watching with. As the show goes on, they can hear other audience members' reactions and see the laugh meter go up as machine learning algorithms detect laughter. Many of these features are optional and customizable, and the performer is able to decide which ones they want active based on the performance. Now is the perfect time for us to build a following for this platform. Comedy is a $40 billion worldwide industry. In the United States, Forbes reported that top-earning comics growing than 272 million in 2019, much of that from live shows. Most live performances have been pushed back to 2021, and many booking agents are taking a step back until 2022. Our current goal is to create a seamless, quality platform for comedians, but we acknowledge the potential and plan to expand into both music and other types of performances. Our team of engineers, designers, innovators, and comedy fanatics know the value of the connection comedy creates. We are passionate about making comedy more accessible, together with a group of comedians who are already eager to test and improve our platform. We are building a fulfilling experience for comics and fans alike. As VIGS grows and the world evolves from the COVID-19 pandemic, we will continue to strive to make performances accessible to fans around the world. VIGS allows for new types of performer collaborations and appeals to all types of people interested in comedy. Already, key players in the industry, including performers, bookers, and venues, have shown an impressive amount of interest in VIGS. VIGS is a platform designed specifically for comedians. This makes it easy for them to put on virtual live shows, making comedy much more accessible. From virtual dates to sharing laughs with friends and family, VIGS will revolutionize the comedy industry. So join us in reimagining nights.
Excellent. If I could have all the judges and team members for our first team get on camera, and we'll switch over to gallery view for the Q&A.
Looks like I can't start video, just as a heads up.
Yeah, same here.
Maybe it looks like it says host has disabled it.
Okay, just one moment and I'll get you all back on.
Oh, there we go. I think it just came on.
I'm still blocked. But you guys can just stare at my cool picture. Oh, here we go.
All right, so we're going to start the Q&A, and we're starting the 5-minute Q&A starting now. So good luck, Cal.
Cool. I had one quick question, which is around one of the things that I imagine with comedians is like the live sort of audio feedback. I saw and perhaps I missed something here, but there's some of the sort of emoji and sort of other feedback around that reaction. But have you guys thought about having audio somehow pipe through, even if it is sort of fake, just to kind of give that person, give that comedian that live feedback?
Yeah, definitely. So actually the way those icons work is that when you click on those icons, you get kind of the canned laughter or canned clapping sound as part of the comedian's performance, so that they're able to hear it on their end. And then we also have that meter, which is kind of tracking the kind of overall engagement of the crowd into the show and how they're all reacting to it.
You can also work in a heckling feature.
Yeah, that's true.
For that.
Maybe, pay to heckle would be a good one.
Talk a little bit about the focus on comedians as your wedge here. So there's a bunch of companies right now spinning up to try to enable live performances. And so talk a little bit about why comedians for you guys.
Definitely. So when it comes to the kind of process for this, when you're looking at comedians, a lot of times other performers have a lot more of a initial cost before they're able to utilize a platform like this. Because if you're looking at, say, a musician or other types of performers, you need to make sure the audio is super pristine. You need to be able to get multiple angles that you're looking at the entire band, not just one person. While with a comedian, you're able to simplify that process. And on top of that, starting with comedians, that's something that you're able to have a lot of interaction with, and the virtual medium allows us to interact in new ways. And so we're really trying to highlight those as a way to make this a platform that will stick around, not just when it's virtually limited, but even when live performances come back, so that we represent kind of a new way for people to interact with their favorite performers.
Is anyone on your team like into a comedian or something? Sorry.
Okay.
I think I missed the question.
Go ahead, Hannah. I already asked mine.
So Dylan and team, great video. A couple questions. So one, can you verify that you have, a working platform, and a little bit about the technology that supports that platform? And then I'd also like to understand of the 8.2 billion in the US revenues, where's that coming from? You're mentioning that you're targeting the comedian, but from a bookings perspective and the like, right? You're taking revenue from, other outlets. So as we think of an $8.2 billion industry, how much of that is, are you planning on taking away from, whether it be, a Netflix type, versus a, comedian, kind of stand-up place downtown Denver?
Definitely. So kind of looking at the question of the market size that we're actually gonna be able to get. Now, so the way performing, especially comedy, works is 75% of that revenue, or it's around 75%. On the exact statistic was in our presentation, but that represents how much they're making in doing these live performances. So especially right now, that is really what we're targeting and trying to build up kind of an audience for this. When live performances start back up, obviously we'll see a bit of a dip, but we're hoping that, especially because comedians want to be able to put their content onto these platforms like Netflix, this gives them an option to further monetize it, where you tap into your actual touring capabilities, and then from there you're expanding and you're able to reach out to virtual audiences as well in kind of a new way.
And what's the typical cut you'll take, or cut that you would take? Is it just based on the tickets?
Yeah, so currently we're taking a 10% fee from any of the different tiers that are purchased by a customer.
So it's a lot less than a venue would take probably, and an agent and a manager and all of those things. So it could be an interesting, way to sell it to the comedians. They get to keep a lot more of the.
Yeah, so traditionally venues will take anywhere from 30 up to even 60 sometimes, depending on the venue. So we're taking a much smaller percentage of that, but we're also not really as concerned with advertising the different shows because for us, that's not really a cost we have to put in the money for, because we don't have to fill the stage. It's more on the performer.
All right, well, that's all the time we have for the Q&A for Biggs. Thank you so much for that amazing pitch. We appreciate y'all and appreciate the Q&A. A round of applause, virtual, for the rest of the participants, panelists. And so in the meantime, while judges are writing down their notes, I will talk about the next team. So the next team we have up is called Swift, and Swift is our only all-male, all-guy team, but these are the kindest and most hardworking guys. These guys, I had to meet them, and yes, we had to meet virtually, but these guys have 3 guys that are super artistic. They have 1 photographer, 1 videographer, and 1 music nerd. So I am all about this team and enjoyed talking art with them as well as entrepreneurship. So Teresa, if we can start setting up the Swift video, we are ready to play that one and hear from Shane and Sandeep.
Welcome to Swift, the best new way to buy sneakers on the aftermarket. Our idea is not new. The way in which we are applying it is. Auto Tempest, Priceline, Trivago, Kayak. All of these services take the best prices on the market and present them all in one place. There's one market that this model hasn't been used for yet, the sneaker market. A A huge but very specific niche that has one of the largest aftermarkets in the fashion world, as it has become so difficult to buy highly sought after sneakers off the drop at retail price. Our service alleviates the painful process of monitoring a multitude of websites and apps to try to find the best deal for a pair of sneakers that you've always wanted. We'll even notify you if a better price pops up through our Swift List feature.
So, you might be asking why there's even a struggle with buying sneakers in the first place. But take a look at the video that's playing right now. A couple of years ago, a lot of people waited in line just to try and get a pair of Jordan 11 Concord. There's a lot of people there, and not all of them could get a pair of these coveted shoes. These are the people that have tried every single thing they can do to get a pair of shoes and couldn't. So from there, they turned to the aftermarket, and that's where we come in.
A few people that was on the ground, I jumped over them and kept running.
You know, it's Michael Jordan. That's what he do. This was one of his most known shoes.
11 Concords exclusive.
The problem that I and many others have had of buying sneakers is that there are way too many options. I spent hours scouring the web to find my favorite pair of shoes, the black toe Jordan 1s. But I had to find the perfect shoe for me, taking into account multiple different criteria. Those hours spent scouring the web could be cut down to one search using Swift. As far as the timeline, we're currently working on the prototype of the application, had a sneak peek of the UI earlier on, and we're also closing out on our market research phase. Next, we're going to look into getting all of our partnerships in order. Since many of these reselling sites already have an affiliate program in place, this should not be too difficult. But after that, we're looking into how we can further work with these companies to enhance our final product. Lastly, we hope to finalize the build by late 2020 and provide a product to sneakerheads everywhere. Our main competitor in all of this is Google's shopping page. But for a sneaker collector like myself, the whole search engine is way too vague. Along with that, Google does not provide the reputable sources that I rely on to get the best sneakers.
Based on our consumer research, our consumers have said that it takes way too much time to find the right sneakers, and it's really hard to find a reliable seller.
Our target consumer is likely someone who enjoys putting together outfits from the shoes up. He has hobbies such as basketball and skateboarding, and more often than not, knows exactly what he wants. He also enjoys efficiency, which is exactly what our app does for him, mitigating the time spent scouring the web for that pair that he's been waiting to get for potentially years to lose hype and come down to a reasonable enough price for him to purchase. We'll notify him immediately when that happens, and he can be following that sneaker for as long as he needs to.
In a study conducted by eBay, there were 12 million high-value sneaker sales. With high-value sneaker sales classified at $150 or more, we're looking at a potential $1.9 billion of sneaker sales just through eBay. Typical resale sites like eBay take about 9% of the overall shoe's value, and using that, that'll put us around $171 million in profit.
Using affiliate marketing already in place through sites like eBay, we can expect to make about 5% off of any sneaker that's bought through our site. Based on that math, that would put us at about $8.5 million of profit just through eBay.
For our startup, our upfront costs are very minimal, and as revenue starts flowing, our biggest costs will come mainly from marketing and maintenance. Our marketing strategy will attack the niche of the sneakerhead, and we will evaluate what areas our target consumer is also interested in, such as basketball, skating, music, fashion, and tech. So how is Swift different from other sneaker purchasing services like GOAT or StockX? StockX does tell you the fairest price on the market based on simple sneaker economics of supply and demand, but that might not always be the cheapest place that you can buy that particular sneaker. Sometimes there might be a better price on another reputable site.
On a website like Kayak, you search for a flight to a destination. Kayak then takes in all the flights to that location from every single airline and gives you the best possible price. We're trying to do the exact same thing, but with sneakers.
We act more as a leaderboard to show you the competitive pricing on a multitude of reputable sites to make sure that you get the best deal. This is also different from services such as Honey, who focus on coupons to get you the best deals.
As a summary, Swift aggregates prices from all the major sites, ensuring the lowest possible price. Using Swift, you can save hours of time researching aftermarket prices by seeing them all together in one single place.
We hope you guys have enjoyed our pitch, and we thank you for your time today. We hope you will be part of Swift's future, the future of purchasing sneakers.
All right, so it looked like the chat was pretty active during that pitch. I'm going to go ahead and start the 5-minute Q&A. Excited to hear what questions we have from the judges panel.
Yeah, actually, first of all, I wanted to say, yeah, there's one of my favorite stores in New York is Flight Club.
I love Flight Club.
Which is like, yeah, that's, so I've gotten a couple of things from there. I've got the Questlove edition of the Nikes, the yellow ones, which are pretty sweet.
Awesome.
Yeah, no, I think it's though I think the one question I had is around customer acquisition. Like, how do you in this case, I think you've got to be in a position of aggregating the consumer demand and figuring out a way to get them flowing through your site. Have you guys thought about what the go-to-market is around there? Like, how do you actually get that wheel turning?
Yeah, one of the things that I've been thinking about, like, for the whole time is I watch a lot of YouTube, and on YouTube I watch like a lot of sneaker YouTubers, and those people in particular are always pushing certain brands, and even like those small brands that are just up and coming. You see your favorite YouTuber, look at that. You see your favorite influencer, look at that, and then if you're interested in the same topic, it'll just appeal, and those companies have huge growth. So being able to partner with some of those larger influencers would probably be the way to get the largest market acquisition at a fast rate.
Cool, thanks.
This is Hannah. Great video, lots of energy, loved it. As a mother of a hype beast, totally get it. Question I have is for somebody who is a mother of someone who just sold some Jordans that were featured in your video. From the prop that you guys have, how are you thinking as far as the validation? So when you talk about reputable, you also use the word kind of cheap, but reputable. How are you guys validating these brands are not knockoff? How are you making sure that whether it's eBay or the like, that these are genuine articles of shoes?
Shane, do you want to take this or do you want me to?
Yeah, I can take this one. So basically, we're going to just make it clear that places like StockX and Goat, they are a middleman service as well. So they also legit check the sneakers. So we're just going to make that clear in the app that a service, if you buy through StockX or Go, will legit check or they will not with somebody like eBay. So it might be worth it for the consumer to pay more to have that middleman service with StockX as well. And we're just going to make that very clear in our list, our drop-down listing of our app.
Awesome.
If you think about it, it's almost like, how Kayak doesn't list Southwest prices because it's sort of like, or you have to know what a bag costs versus what the flight costs and all of that. So I think there's some interesting work to be done there. How do you guys think about, this is a like, to be an aggregator, it's a major, it's a data play really, right? And so how are you thinking about sort of being able to partner with some of these sites and get the data? Is it APIs? Like, how are you thinking about that big tech build? Because it's a big lift.
Right. So I'm Omar. I'm the CTO. So basically, what we're thinking at first, we're just going to straight up get any publicly accessible data using APIs, or whether that was web scraping or any of that stuff, and then storing historic data in a big data framework. That way, we're able to do historic price analysis or any other information that we need over time. But our goal is that hopefully once we grow large enough, we can start actually getting the data directly from the sellers as opposed to having to jump through hoops in order to acquire that.
Quick question for the the big drops that happen, which is where a lot of times that's what ends up on the second market, right? Whether it's Adidas or Nike. How are you helping or planning on helping with that, which was a little bit featured in your video?
As far as drops go, there's like a bunch of different ways to handle it. Like sites like Goat and StockX will send out notifications, first of all, saying like this shoe is available early. But what we were thinking was something similar along those lines. Is like, this is when the price is going to be high. And so if you wait a certain amount of time, the price could be lower just based on like how the market's going with a certain type of shoe. But like for the most part, like we could add a drop notification feature to say like, the shoe is releasing on Nike, it's releasing on Adidas at this time and date. But for the most part, we're trying to aggregate the best prices rather than get the drops in order and like the release dates.
Awesome. Thank you.
why do you think none of the other existing sites have kind of tried something like this? Like what's the reason they haven't sort of gone into this sort of more aggregation type model, do you think?
I think it's because they'd be promoting their competition. Because if like I'm on StockX and I see on there that an aggregate has it cheaper on a different website, you'd be more likely to leave their website, not buy through them.
I see, right? Because they themselves are doing the transaction.
Rather, we're
so I guess you guys are
an
thinking
aggregator, not a marketplace.
Yeah, so you guys are thinking almost more like you're a specialized search engine versus a marketplace.
Yep.
Cool.
How much do the prices? I mean, do the prices really differ that much across these sites?
I don't know how much time we have left, but there's a lot of discrepancy on certain shoes. Like on one site, it'll be like $100 more expensive, but that could be for like a plethora of reasons. On a website like Goat, they sell shoes in used condition, and those are going to be differentiating by like $300, $400, $500. But then sometimes it'll be like StockX got the shoe prior to when someone shipped the shoe to Goat, so then that price will be higher just because it was there earlier. So there's always like $100, $200 differences, and when you're paying that kind of like a couple hundred for a shoe, those are pretty decent differences to take into account.
All right, well, I don't want to step on you, Sandy, but we're going to have to go on to the next part of tonight, but thank you for answering all those great questions and for presenting that really fun video that we all got to dance to. Before we go into
Sarah, could I interject real quick, SK?
Of course, please do.
So first, I want to take us back to Team Vigs just for a second to make sure that the remainder of the team gets some love. So Dylan was up front, Nicholas Johnson, Joy Ma, and Eric Ortolano, also part of that team. Want to make sure that we recognize those that didn't get a chance to jump in. Also want to thank Team Swift for giving me the term sneakerhead, which I love that. I'd not heard that before. That I'm going to try to use that in a sentence very soon.
Perfect. So before we move on to the next team, I first want to say thank you for throughout the program. We had a bunch of different weekly speakers and weekly guests. We had 17 guest speakers throughout our different weekly Tuesday night sessions, as well as 6 different mentors that provided either individual mentorship as well as team mentorship. And then we also had 24 different guests that joined as panelists or pitch coaches, etc. And so to share a slide recognizing in recognition of these amazing guests. So here's just a handful of some of the guests that we had, and we are so thankful for the opportunity. I already was seeing that some of them were able to join tonight. We can't say thank you enough. I know all the students are really grateful for how much they've learned from you, as well as the mentorship and insight that you provided for them this summer.
+1. So on behalf of Silicon Flatirons and CU, thanks to everybody who jumped in. SK, can we go back a slide real quick? In addition to my head looking unusually big, I just want to say DK looks like way more distinguished and sophisticated in this than I suspect he's looking at home right now. These are great. Anyway, thanks to everybody. And DK, you can get me back in the chat room.
All right, and so for our next team, we have Team Notice, and they have shown consistent progress throughout this summer as a team, but also each member has contributed, whether it was through Q&A, through Tuesday night seminars. I could always count on each participant to provide a different question for the speakers. So we are grateful for Team Notice to present their pitch. So Teresa, if you can start buffering up Team Notice's video.
With 2 billion monthly users, YouTube is a pot of data gold, and Notice is the rainbow that content creators use to discover it. Notice is a SaaS platform that provides qualitative data to YouTube creators that is overlooked by other third-party platforms. The Notice executive team consists of 5 passionate individuals. We are igniters, the catalysts for digital transformation. With a combined 12 years experience in AI sentiment analysis and SaaS startups to data visualization and social networking, we have what it takes to develop and bring Notice to market. Just imagine being on a Zoom call with a million voices speaking at the same time. In fact, a million fans clamoring for your attention. That's what it feels like to be a YouTuber searching through their comment section. Meet Nil Sunny. Nil has over 400,000 subscribers and is looking for more ideas to help grow her YouTube channel. She's recently recognized her competitors growing at a faster rate than she is and wants to learn more about her viewership's wants and needs as a community to expand her fan base. And this is her sister Haley. By contrast, she has over 1.3 million subscribers. With an overflowing comment section, she's overwhelmed with notifications and is struggling to stay organized. We interviewed Haley, and her biggest wish as a creator is a system that gives her the opportunity to easily read suggestions from her audience. YouTube is Haley's full-time job, and right now, she only has time to read the top 10 comments on a published video. Both sisters have been searching for new ways to get feedback from their viewers, but didn't have a viable solution until now. This is where Notice comes in. We process all of your comments through a natural language engine that focuses on sentiment to gather next-level insights on your subscribers in a simple dashboard. No more dreading the lack of detail in your analytics. Now every creator can see how they compare to other channels in terms of subscriber similarity, content engagement, audience retention, and more. Notice provides smart groups that filter your comments for you. Along with positive and negative comments, our unique model presents the user with an insightful wants and wishes category. This includes specific requests, desires, and more directly from their fan base. Our interaction potential section allows you to engage with your top subscribers, look at their interests based on what other channels they subscribe to, determine their personal sentiment toward your channel, and view their commenting history. For Nil, Notice can improve her idea generation and boost engagement, while Haley will finally be able to gain control of the hundreds of comment notifications she gets on a daily basis and understand the feedback from her virtual family. Beyond YouTube, the market opportunity for comment analysis extends to other influencer platforms with available qualitative data like Twitch, Instagram, Twitter, and more. Our target market is channels with 100,000 subscribers or more. The total addressable market on YouTube is approximately $40 million annually. Our serviceable obtainable market is about 15% of the 160,000 channels with over 100,000 subscribers. Now imagine the possibilities when Notice is applied to the top YouTube channels with over 10 million subscribers each. After interviewing 15 content creators and industry experts such as Paul Barbarian and Julian Dunez, the Notice team understood the lack of qualitative data analysis across all third-party platforms. Current analytics offerings fall short of intelligent comment management. Qualitative data has been completely overlooked, and in turn, creators miss out on inspiration from the very people they set out to entertain. Unlike anything on the market, Notice provides actionable insights using language analysis to better ensure organization and understanding for any creator. For channels with 100,000 subscribers or more, we will charge $20 a month, a figure that fits us squarely into the competitive landscape. At year 1 in business, with our estimated 1,500 paying customers, we will have earned $360,000. After an aggressive focus on marketing, we project to have 25,000 paying customers with $6 million in revenue after 3 years. With investment funding, we will continue conducting user interviews and bring 2 developers into production. We will conduct ground-swelling marketing with social media to bond with our future users. We will run a targeted ad campaign to reach creators already seeking help to expand their channels, and we will have an operational MVP in the next 2 months. By next quarter, we forecast 1,000 creators on our waiting list that will beta test Notice with a 6-month free subscription. Let us pull the weight in this relationship and connect every piece of the puzzle.
All right, thank you. Notice I see the chat function is already blowing up, so we'll get started on the next Q&A, and I'm going to go ahead and start the 5-minute timer starting now.
That These videos are awesome, all of you guys. I don't know how you're making these. It's really impressive. Thank you. My husband's in the background. It was just like, these are better than the Techstars demo.
Yeah.
Really
Definitely
impressive.
better than some.
So talk a little bit about, so like, I know there's a lot of platforms out there that are trying to capture the, like, selling to influencers. And, you know, one of the complaints is like, they have all this noise to filter through with all the information they're getting. You know, where are there feature gaps with sort of focusing on the comments and sort of the sentiment, where this is going to be another thing that those influencers have to manage on top of some other thing that they really need, and just like talk about how you think about that a little bit.
Absolutely. So I'm Priscilla Hopper. I'm the CEO. And right now there are a lot of third-party applications for a bunch of different reasons, right? However, they focus primarily on quantitative data and they stop there completely. They don't go into the comment sections whatsoever. And the people who have done this before have sort of given up and their patience just kind of wore thin. So right now, YouTube Studio, for example, only focuses on like gender, on where you're watching from, on how many subscribers you have, most liked comment, things like that. So we really want to dig even deeper, because just even scrolling through any video, you'll see a number of different recommendations or ideas that your audience is giving the content creators directly. And the only people who could look at that really are other viewers or the content creators themselves. They could also hire someone and pay them, you know, 60 grand a year. But if we can save them that money and that effort, then, you know, why not?
The point about personal sentiment toward your channel, I thought was interesting. Was that, can you talk about that a little bit? Is that something, yeah, I'm just curious what that was specifically.
Totally.
Sure. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, so the idea here is using like sentiment analysis through natural language processing to go through the comments to see what the actual tone is, whether that be anger, boredom, disgust, fear, sadness. And then the idea here is to cater the amount of analysis that you receive to what you see as anger, boredom, and fear, right? And then in our prototype, we have the check and X mark. And the idea here is after you get feedback from us, we use a reinforcement model to match it to your own engagement, right? So if we said one of these comments was bored and you were like, I don't think that user was bored, our proprietary model trains it so that it matches your own channel and your own feedback. And that's what makes it unique.
Got it. Thanks.
Can you talk specifically about what's needed to get your MVP into production in the next 2 months?
Totally, yeah. So in terms of the MVP production, like all of us on the team have natural language processing experience. I actually built an app that uses sentiment analysis to analyze empathetic teaching. We also have onboarded 2 developers that will work on this. And along with that, we've already worked with all the APIs to see which ones would work, including a YouTube API that takes the comments, and then other types of Beautiful Soup or other types of web scrapers that take comments from other sources, whether that be Twitch, Instagram, Twitter. So we're also ready to expand out to different verticals. And the idea here is now that we've worked and tested each of the back end, making the front end through either web design or the works there. So the product itself will work in that regard.
Why did you say 15? There was like a 15% of the people that had over 100K audience as the TAM. Why do you see limiting yourself to that 15%, or what was the sort of factor there?
I think just to clarify, the 15% is what we identified as our serviceable addressable market. The TAM, of course, would be the entire market. So
yeah, good call. But why that? But why was the serviceable market only 15%?
So we're looking at YouTube only for now, and we want to prove that this is going to work with YouTube before launching into Twitch and TikTok, for instance. And we saw that there was so much growth potential. So there was something like $42 billion in market size for the global streaming market, and it grows 20% year over year, and it's projected to reach $184 billion by 2027. So our plan is to start out with YouTube and with investment money, and then with our growth plan, launch into a vertical very soon in the next few months.
And that's actually really smart. And you usually see the opposite, where teams are saying that they're going to capture this huge piece of this giant market. So I appreciate that you guys are being a little more conservative here. And I think it's really smart to sort of like own one piece of it first, because there's a big market to go after there and test it.
All right, so that's all we have for Team Notice and the Q&A. Let's give a big hand for Team Notice and the awesome video that they had as well. The next team that we have up as the...
Yeah, I want to note a slight innovation that I'm seeing right now. I can't empirically prove it. I think some teams have put influencers into the comment boxes. And I love it with the audience choice prize on the line. Why not? But I think it's appropriate. I'm just calling them as I see them. I think there's influencers in there, and I approve.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you might as well. We encourage them to invite their friends and family, so I'm glad that that was taken up. And we're glad to have everyone in attendance. So for the next team that we have up, we have Team Gaio. Team Gaio is a team that came with multiple ideas into Startup Summer, and instead of pursuing each individual idea, they decided to stay together as a team and form a new idea together as a team. So tonight you are going to hear a pitch from Evan in the video, and you'll hear one idea that they formed as a team because they saw the value of sticking together as a team. So Teresa, if you are ready, we can start up Gaio's pitch.
Hi, we're Gaio and I'm Evan. My dad tells me it's not about what you know, it's about who you know. I always used to think this was just one of those dumb expressions that doesn't really mean anything, at least until college. Freshman me was fed up with working as a waiter. I wanted to start getting experiences in business, find an internship, and hopefully some professional mentors. Easy, right? Not so much. Over the past 3 years, I've applied to quite literally hundreds of jobs online. From all of that, I got just 2 interviews and 0 job offers. Almost every job I'd heard of another student getting was through someone they knew, but I didn't have a network. I tried attending career fairs and sending LinkedIn requests to anybody in Boulder with an interesting title, but it was the same problem. I was lost in too much noise, and I had no idea how to make genuine connections. As a student, getting started on your professional network feels like pounding sand. It's demoralizing to get rejected a few times, and borderline traumatizing to get rejected hundreds. The more events you attend, applications you send, and profiles you try to befriend, the less motivated and personalized your attempts become, making you somehow even less likely to get a response. We talked to Sally Forrester, who runs the mentoring program at Leeds, and she told us that a large part of her job is getting students to engage in the program in the first place. Students get assigned mentors in the fall, and the majority have stopped meeting with them by the spring. Even though students signed up to get a mentor, they feel like a bother, and the attention is unearned, so students are afraid to utilize their mentor at all. To encapsulate, networking platforms rely too much on quantity to get results. Students are left demoralized and without direction, and schools have no tools to help students without just pushing them to use the existing bad platforms they're already failing on. That brings us to our solution. On Gaio, students have a limited number of points they can use to initiate contact with mentors and alumni. Students get a budget of points each month and can earn more by maintaining relationships with their new contacts and engaging in school events. This creates scarcity to cut down on spam and low-effort connection requests, which makes mentors more likely to respond and lets students focus on quality over quantity of interaction. Gamification keeps students motivated and gives them a clear path to the otherwise vague and intimidating task of building a professional network. We make it easy to follow short-term milestones to counterbalance the long-term soft skill of maintaining relationships. Easy integration with campus events allows schools to incentivize participation in the events they already put so much work into hosting. Reward attendance at the door, host contests, giveaways, use Gaio to catalyze professional development systems where the only missing piece is interested students. Plus, being more than a secluded portal ensures that Gaio doesn't end up as yet another platform that schools pay for and students don't use. We plan to partner with universities by being a software as a service. Our biggest cost is the initial development of the platform, but after the core functionality, Maintenance and overhead is low, while we can cheaply expand the subscription model to more universities. For a top-down view of the market, in 2017, all of US higher education had a total budget of $584 billion, where support systems are the largest bucket for almost every kind of university, often over 50%. Universities don't hesitate to spend large amount of money on students beyond education. We'll make it as easy as possible for schools to onboard students and professionals. Automatically load profile data from a LinkedIn account so students can easily just download the app as soon as they see it at an event or on campus or hear their friends talking about it. With easy account setup and promise of less spam, alumni and local professionals will be far easier to convince to sign up too. Unlike LinkedIn and Handshake, we limit the number of people students can connect with. This decreases the time students spend cold messaging and saves their attention for quality interactions. We also don't assign students to mentors like Cronus. We let them reach out to mentors so they can make personal connections and feel more engaged. With Hagen, Jade, Anya, and myself, we're a balanced team of engineers and entrepreneurs. Our experience as students gives us personal insights to the challenges and opportunities for making a student professional networking platform succeed. To return to the story I started with, I found an internship. I got it through my network, but that took me through tons of dead ends and until my senior year. We think a professional network is something that every student needs and should be able to make clear and enjoyable progress on. Gaio exists to make that a reality.
All right, that was an amazing video from Gaio and the team with Evan. If Gaio is on and the teams are on, then we will go ahead and get started with the Q&A. I will go ahead and start the 5-minute countdown clock.
That's a really big problem you guys are solving. I'd be curious, universities are definitely going through big changes right now in the COVID environment. And so how do you think about, where this fits in and sort of problems it's solving for them as they think about their student bodies, in light of the changes to how campus is going to feel?
Yeah, so with less in-person events, it's even more important for there to be platforms potentially like this to help students with their networking, things that help them meet people, initiate contact, because it's easy to talk to someone I already know if I have their phone number or email or something like that. But if I don't have that, I can't initiate contact at all. And that's mainly what we're trying to help with.
Hey, Evan, it's Hannah. Great presentation, and I think to Jacqueline's point, this is a pretty large problem. How are you guys addressing kind of is it just a mentor? I mean, we talk about mentors, which are I think a little bit different than networking. And networking, I'm curious on why would you want to limit connections through this approach versus having maybe a more skills-based component to it that could help filter out versus restrict. So if you could maybe talk a little bit about that, that'd be great.
Yeah, so as far as mentors versus just a network, we're kind of in the middle, say between LinkedIn, which is all about the network, and some of these mentoring platforms that the school already uses that are just about the mentors. And we think there's something kind of in the middle because like I, as a student trying to find a job, most of it comes through my network, and there's kind of a gray area between the people who I consider to be my mentors and my just professional connects as a student. Maybe once I'm older, that'll be different. But right now, my entire professional network is people who I would consider mentors for me. And then for the, what was it? Sorry, what was your second question?
Yeah, so why limit it versus allowing a filter functionality from a skills-based or relationship perspective versus just constraining it?
Yeah, so the constraint is really useful for keeping down spam on the kind of mentor and professional end. if we use filters, there's going to be, you know, higher profile people. Like, think Brad Feld in Boulder is going to get basically every entrepreneur student trying to message him. But just having kind of a market and cost associated with reaching out to different people will kind of distribute that more evenly and make it easier to reach out to anyone than having to have an idea of who you're thinking in mind first.
Do you help the students? Do you help the students make those decisions?
Yeah, we want to make it really guided to where it's kind of almost like playing a game where you get guided through the process. There's incentives and that takes you through the whole thing, versus right now, maybe your like mentor counselor at the school is helping you, but they can only help so much.
Yeah, I think this is really interesting, and I think it's definitely a major problem in the space, and things like Techstars are basically like large bags of network. So interesting problem space. You know, one of the things I think about when, you know, people ask me for intros or you know, if I'm sort of thinking about that, it's like part of it's the credit. Either you're relying on the credibility of that person's background if you haven't met them, or you've built some kind of personal connection with them. How do you think about that? Like, I guess I think about like the high quality introductions that either I've given or have gotten via my network, are the people that it's either post having some credibility or building a rapport with them. And so how do you propose to kind of build that into the platform?
Yeah, one of the things we think about with the credibility is if I'm on LinkedIn and I'm a local business person, high profile, so many different people are going to be messaging me. I'm just going to ignore it entirely. But kind of like the mentoring system schools use, they go out and recruit local business people or through their alumni network to get them on the platform. And if we do that, then those mentors or professionals, knowing that people are spending their points to message them in the first place, they're not going to get many messages relative to LinkedIn. So they'll hopefully respond to all of them that way.
It's important to focus on the mentors and what they get out of it. If there's a recruiting aspect of this for them, like you'll want to build that into it. And then also sort of guiding the students towards like connecting what jobs are available and then how they might be able to sort of get to people that are connected into those things. Lots of different stakeholders and constituents here. So it's a hard problem, but it's really interesting.
Yeah, and for the mentors, that's what we think most other software and platforms have figured out. We think the student engagement is something that no one is thinking about as much, and that's what we're focusing on.
All right, well, thank you, Evan, and thank you, panelists, for asking those great questions. Let's give a round of applause for Gaio. Awesome.
SK, can I interject 2 quick comments?
Of course, please do.
First is from the attendees tonight, there's a lot of, first of all, there's some fun chatter, but there's also several really good, interesting ideas and suggestions. And so I suspect that the teams are already looking through those, but I encourage the teams to look through and grab some of those questions and comments, and big ups to the audience for offering suggestions and potential introductions to the teams. That's really kind of an unexpected bonus of this format. The other thought is, Evan, could you imagine if we combined your headphones with my pants tonight? I mean, just be like, it would be a white flash, be like the, you know, Chicago World Fair from the late 19th century. It'd be really wonderful.
So on that note,
No response, Evan?
I have no words for that comment.
So next we have not that headphones and fun pants duo, but we have a different type of duo. We have 2 girls that have worked so hard to create from a hairstyle idea of hair dye to an idea of about selling items on campus. Hannah and Morgan have come together to create Buff Stuff. So without further ado, Teresa, if you can present Buff Stuff.
As a college student, I'm always trying to save money. Whether that be buying hand-me-downs or used items, I try not to break the bank. Have you ever wanted to go buy a used textbook, but it was still over $100? Or what about finding resources to help you study, and the only options available are programs like Chegg or GradeSaver, where you have to pay a high price per month to get help? Usually students turn to websites like Craigslist, eBay, or Facebook Marketplace. However, you find that these marketplaces are inefficient, full of noise, or hard to sell items on. College students have a need for a marketplace that is on a college budget, has relevant products to them, and is easy to sell on. That's where we come in. Buff Stuff is a marketplace just for college students. This allows for relevant products, cheaper prices, efficiency, and a way to make money. College students can now sell notes, textbooks, clothes, college gear, plus more while keeping it local. Next, let's look at what the target market thinks. We've heard complaints throughout our college experience with the current ways to sell textbooks and how expensive used books are. Even beyond books, students are constantly looking to sell to each other. After surveying our peers, the majority expressed interest and said they would want to download our app. At this point, you might be thinking, well, this sounds basically like Craigslist or eBay, so what makes you different from the other competitors? Buff Stuff allows you to trade only among college students. It is updated and innovative compared to the other competitors. There's a lot of noise on these other selling websites. Buff Stuff can filter searches, which means no more Facebook chats filled with tons of random items students are trying to sell. Profit off of items do not go into the pockets of big corporations, but instead students. This is environmentally friendly, and thrifting of goods is becoming a modern day trend, which is good for business in the reselling field. Now, the big question, how do we make money? When users make a listing and subsequent sale on Buff Stuff's platform, a service fee of 20% rakes back to Buff Stuff. As functionality and the user experience grows, Buff Stuff will be able to add revenue streams in the form of featured listings and advertisements. If we can get 15% of students to make 2 purchases of about $30 within the first 2 months of school, that would bring in about $60,000. Here are some estimated startup costs. We are predicting it will cost around $7,000 upfront in app development. To maintain the company, we will need to put funds towards app upkeep, tech support, analytics, and marketing. Now let's take a look at our target market. In the beginning, Buff Stuff would only be available to CU students. This allows us to see how well the app performs. However, Buff Stuff is massively scalable, and that we intend to bring the product to colleges and universities all around the country. All in all, there are about 20 million college students in the US alone, which means a large potential market. Our scaling would be staggered, grouping universities on a scale from largest to smallest, with the largest schools being offered Buff Stuff first. If we expand to more prominent universities, the name Buff Stuff would be rebranded. We think that university-specific marketing will keep our brand feeling local and community-oriented. To get users, we need to have a solid marketing plan. In a marketplace, there's a specific challenge where you need to find both buyers and sellers. In order to have one, you have to have the other. To get over this hurdle, we will have many marketing strategies, like referral programs, ads at local businesses, promotional discounts, and posting on pages where selling is already happening. We could also make promotional items to give out, because college kids love free stuff. To bring in students, the most important thing is to have products to buy. We initially could buy books up front and sell or rent them for less than the competitors. Here's an intro to what the app will look like. It requires an @colorado.edu email to sign in, ensuring that it's just CU students, but without a need for university compliance for authentication. Once you sign up, you can search by course, by item, by category, or by event. You can also search through a person's profile and listings. Now here's a timeline for Buff Stuff. We have 4 stages of our timeline. It goes from app development, the launch of the app, refining the company, and finally further expansion and rebranding. Finally, here's our company's aspirations. We will build a stronger community while saving students money, reducing waste, keeping money in the students' pockets instead of larger corporations, and constantly providing an innovative platform to sell on. Thank you, and look out for Buff Stuff in the future.
All right, it looks like I'm not able to start my video yet, but we'll go ahead and start on the Q&A. I have started the timer.
I just wanted to say, first of all, this presentation, even all of them have been excellent. There's as I'm watching them, I have questions like, oh, well, how are you going to start that marketplace? And I feel like you guys just had slides already ready for that. So yeah, overall, super impressed with everything so far. One question I did have is and maybe you thought of this, is the safety aspect is one that may be pretty relevant here, since that's, there's all those sort of horror stories around Craigslist and others. Like, how have you thought about that aspect as a differentiator?
Well, we think that it would be safer in part just because it's CU students. You have to make sure it's a student, so scammers aren't necessarily on there. But also, we secure payments before it happens. So the person buying the item, we secure their payment before the meetup happens, and then they can release the payment after, like the person who bought it, where they were like, say, yeah, it was good, it was great, and then it releases the payment to the seller.
Yeah, I would say that was one of the main things we actually did look at, was because of all the horror stories of Craigslist and eBay. Even CU has a thing where you can go look up jobs, but at the beginning it sends you a warning saying, oh, by the way, there might be scams. And so we thought like there was a major issue, and I'm always seeing stories on campus, oh, I got scammed, don't talk to this person, blah, 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 blah. So I think this would be such a good idea to have just like only to college students, and that like secured payment is definitely a way to make sure scams aren't an issue.
Could have like branded meetup spots.
We also thought about that too. We thought about maybe possibly getting a place like maybe on the hill or somewhere, and having it where if you want to meet up, you can say, hey, I'll meet up at this location, and then someone can go at this specific time. Or we thought about making like a booth we could set up maybe like in the UMC or different areas, so people could meet up and feel more safe.
You could almost have like a yard, like a farmer's market, but for students, like they could set up their own booths. It's like kind of interesting.
Yeah, we also thought about for further expansion of possibly having students be able to sell their services, because as a college student, it's often hard to like start your profile or resume. So like if you're in design or whatever and you want to start a profile, I think it would be a great way to start.
So in your list of like competition, I didn't see Nextdoor, which has a similar community validation aspect to it. Have you looked at Nextdoor and how that might be leveraged as part of your go-to-market for the college campus?
Yeah, so I actually do have Nextdoor, and the issue with Nextdoor is there are so many things when you look up a certain product, so many irrelevant things come up, and that's a part of the noise. And so we think that having this app that is extremely filtered and have it down to the point where you can search up your course and your like course name eliminates the noise. And like Nextdoor, there's so many irrelevant things that just pop up. So I feel like this would help a lot more.
Or do you think that that's because it's on neighborhood, or versus, so if your neighborhood was the campus, how much of that noise would be filtered out automatically because that's how your community is defined, versus, you know, what you're seeing today is, you know, not defined based on academia?
Yeah, I mean, I think that in general, like it would, Nextdoor brings in just the neighborhoods, and we want to bring in all CU students. So like, I think the neighborhoods would bring in like the Hill or like over here. And so our thing is just convening all around CU, and there's students, you know, all the way to Broomfield, all over. So yeah, and anyone in your neighborhood, there's like people in Table Mesa and like older people in the neighborhoods. So it's refining it to more school related items rather than my lawnmower's broken, or like here's a lawnmower, and these types of things.
I was about to say there's a lot of students that do commute, and the Nextdoor and stuff might not take them in like that location. And so this app, you could just sign up with your school email and you would automatically be in, and then you could look at the different things being sold.
I think about the 20% take rate's like kind of high. And so I would think about that as sort of, are you creating too much friction where people are going to take these transactions off the platform? So thinking about ways, an interesting thing dynamic you have here is that supply and demand are the same people. Like you're going to have people selling and buying. And so ways to sort of keep them on the platform. And so maybe it's, you know, they have a coin of some kind, or they get a discount on the next, something like that. Because you're going to have to work really hard to keep them on the marketplace, I think.
Yeah, that's a good idea. And also we think that as we expand, we could lower that number. It's just to start off to keep the profits to offset our initial expenses. We think that 20% more covers that. But as we spread, I think we'd look at taking that percentage down.
All right, so Hannah, don't want to step on you, but we have to get on to the next video. Let's give a round of applause. Thank you for the insightful questions and for all the hard work, girls. Y'all did amazing work. For the next company we have up,
is this it?
We have two more companies.
Two more,
Yeah,
sorry.
this is company number 6, but their name is called Wizard. It's not called that. That is a company. But anyway, so Wizard is the next team. Team Wizard probably had some of the busiest schedules for each team member on this team, yet each team member made time to reach out to whether it was mentors, whether it was the Startup Summer team, or whether it was previous speakers. They made a concerted effort to make sure that they were very involved in the Startup Summer program and also involved with their team. So without further ado, Teresa, if you want to share Team Wizard's video.
Hi, I'm Kaushik Kannan, CEO of Wizard. My team and I are so excited to be here with you today to tell you how Wizard is changing the game when it comes to students learning math.
Relatability is one of the major achievement gaps in math education today, with many students reporting that the abstract and complex nature of math problems makes them difficult to understand and ultimately harder to solve. I was taught this very powerful lesson when I tutored a student named Camila exactly 2 summers ago. Now, Camila was a 6th grader struggling in Algebra 1, and I noticed that understanding her interests in reading Percy Jackson novels allowed me to design a story-based problem around characters in those novels that improved her excitement and engagement with the material and stimulated better performance, effectively setting the foundation for Wizard. What if we told you that there was a better way to learn math? At Wizard, our foundation is based on personalized problem sets that relate to each and every student's experience and interests. In doing so, we help the students understand math through the problem rather than understand the problem through the math. Our approach is based on 4 major pillars, starting with personalized problem sets that design a story around your experience and interests, helping you better relate to the math concepts that were previously misunderstood. We deliver the problems purely remotely to promote a flexible learning environment, providing comprehensive support through our video explanations and solution guides to each and every problem, helping you to pinpoint your weaknesses as you go through your math courses. And finally, we allow you to assess your capabilities and engagement with our service in our student self-assessments, helping us to improve the way that you learn and ultimately your overall understanding. The EdTech market is a $72 billion space composed of 29 different companies. We hope to target within this market K-8 students across the United States, a population of 35.5 million students. To put this in perspective, at a market capture rate of exactly 1%, we would create value for 355,000 students with our platform, and further, we would have a $720 million company. And now is the perfect time to implement our solution. As a result of the COVID-19 pandemic, students have seen a sharp decline in their learning and have been forced to move largely online for their education. With our personalized problem sets and remote problem delivery, we hope to target these students as they move online, providing them a problem-solving experience like no other. Now, we're obviously no stranger to the crowded EdTech playing space, and we're here to tell you how we win with our approach. Let's take a look at our user testimonials. Over the course of Startup Summer, we surveyed a group of 6 users to test out our problems and report their findings. What they saw is that the problems related to them so well and were thought out in a way that helped them understand the math, eventually stimulating confidence that they would perform better in their math courses. Let's take a look at your standard subtraction problem, something that you might see on a Kumon worksheet. Contrast this with our problem here at Wizard that we designed for a student interested in Frozen to help her understand subtraction while also relating it to her interest in Frozen movies. Systems of equations are presented very similarly by our competitors, with numbers given and numbers expected at the end of the day. In contrast, here at Wizard, we designed a problem to help a student improve his understanding of systems of equations and solving them while also getting better at basketball and learning how to dunk. And now to the big question of how we make money, which is through a combination of 3 subscription models, a standard, a pro, and a premium plan, with customization included in all 3 of these plans. The differences between these plans is with the course content that is covered on the actual problems, as well as the frequency of problem delivery and the quality of the solution guides to each problem. Now, it's important to note that our pricing is fair because students are currently paying between $25 and $80 for competing tutoring services, as well as sometimes more for a non-relatable problem-solving experience with one of our competitors. Our website provides a streamlined approach to creating an account, with students signing up with their name, their extracurricular interests and hobbies, as well as their level in math, to help us create a personalized problem set for every student. The Wizard Promise is one where we promise each student that we will help them learn math and do it in a way that is both engaging and relatable, ultimately allowing them to use what they love to motivate an understanding of misunderstood math concepts. Our game plan for moving forward with this idea starts off with beta testing of our product before we move into establishment and validation of our MVP, en route to developing our final product. Then we hope to launch our product and scale it through the incorporation of AI and software to speed up our problem generation and also eventual integration into school districts to provide a service for more students. Our team is uniquely positioned to execute on this goal as we come from diverse backgrounds and interests, providing us the perfect platform for launching this idea. Ultimately, the future of education is ready for a change, with students, teachers, and parents forced to rethink the way that students are learning. At Wizard, we provide the personalized problem sets that promote an understanding of math and allow students to use what they love to understand what they don't know. We hope you're with us, and thank you so much for your time today.
All right, thank you so much, Kaushik and Team Wizard, for presenting that video. We're going to go ahead and get started with the next Q&A. And I went ahead and started the time clock, and it starts now.
I have a quick question around, have you guys actually looked at all this, I haven't sort of evaluated it fully myself, but the hype around GPT-3 as it relates to what you guys are working on?
Thanks, Vikas, for that question. I actually have not heard of that service. Would you mind giving me a rundown?
Yeah, no, it's yeah, you guys should check it out. It's a fairly impressive like NLP model. It's like trained with like latest techniques by OpenAI, but it's shown some pretty impressive ability to sort of learn sort of a space of especially text and generate new things. So I imagine you could like some of the examples are showing it sort of describing a problem and actually it generating code. So it could actually be a way for you to get started, and even if in this climate, if you're raising money and you use that as a buzzword, it might also help you. So it's pretty impressive. You should look at some videos of it, but it might be a way to bootstrap your the AI side of this to make it actually more instant.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Talk a little bit about
great presentation.
Go ahead, Hannah.
Thanks. Question I have is, so you make it relative of learning, like how relatable is it? And what I mean by that is, as certain parents are looking to the upcoming school year, their students are their children are going to have the challenge of answering these questions at school, and maybe they have a tutor, maybe they don't. Are you positioned to be able to take the questions that they get day to day in school and translate them into a more relatable learning experience where you have the problem, right? And then you can then walk them through how to get to the answer in a more relatable way. Is that going to be part of your roadmap?
Yeah, Hannah, thank you so much for that question. And that's a great question. So one of the fields within our demo is actually, what is your child currently studying in school? So whenever you create an account with us, you can ultimately enter what your child is studying in school, and you can update that as many times as you'd like, because obviously what you learn changes over time. So that's absolutely kind of part of our value proposition. And the student that I mentioned as well at the beginning, Camila, I actually took a look at what she was doing in school when I was tutoring. And then I matched what she was doing through Percy Jackson problems to exactly what she was doing in school. And what I saw is that when she was doing the problems initially, she was like, "Dad, can I go walk the dog? Can I like do anything besides math?" And when I gave her my problems, she was so excited, and her dad's a teacher, and he saw that excitement and reported it to me. So that's why we really moved forward with this.
Thanks.
Talk a little bit about sort of, as you think about the go-to-market strategy, are you going to sell to parents? Are you going to try to partner with schools? Have you done research on sort of the challenges around that? And, you know, the end user is the student, but really there's like all these other stakeholders. So how do you navigate that?
Yeah, that's a great question. And that's something that we 100% have considered. And we are going to initially start off with a B2C model to get proof of concept before utilizing our connections into school districts to get proof of concept then within school districts before to go full launch. And as far as looking at the landscape of getting in there, we have talked with competitors. And one of the things they mentioned to us is that school districts often feel like they don't have enough money for new things. So with that in mind, we have realized that it's going to be very important for us to prove that we actually increase engagement and do increase learning through our platform before going full scale to market. And that's something we learned throughout this process that we now know is extremely important to prove concept before going full scale into school districts.
You guys should look into Quizlet. It's like an incredible story of how they've gone about this. So I would use that as a great model.
Awesome, thank you.
All right, so we will wrap up the Q&A. Let's give a round of applause for Team Wizard. All right, the next, and we'll move on to the next team. Brad, do you have any interjecting thoughts? Oh, you're on mute.
Well, that's the first one for tonight. I'm proud to be the first person to talk behind the mute. Just for those that have not been around Startup Summer, this program, you get a sense as the development that teams have made, really with nights and weekends, while for the most part holding full-time internships. If you know of companies or you're with a company that wants to have a Startup Summer intern next year in 2021, this has really turned out to be a powerful program. Please reach out to us at Silicon Flatirons or to me directly, and we'd be delighted to make that happen. So just a quick plug before we move into the final presentation. Thanks.
All right, so that is a great setup for the final presentation is for Team Box Labs. And this team, they always were keeping on track with doing check-ins, and one of the check-ins included notifying me that they were going to have an awkward founders agreement conversation the next day. And being a fan of this group, I had no doubt in my mind that the conversation was not actually awkward at all. They are a fun group of students that are all come together as a good group of friends. So I'm excited to introduce Box Labs, and Andrew will be presenting it via the video. So Teresa, if you would like to start Box Labs.
Hi, I'm Andrew Brodsky, and I'm here with Box Labs, the easiest way for a small business to design delightful unboxing experiences for their products. In the age of COVID, e-commerce is a bigger part of our lives than ever before. But for small merchants who want to design specialty packaging to impress their customers, options can be limited. See, for a small business that relies on a third-party packaging supplier, pretty much the only thing you can customize is what gets printed on the cardboard. Now, in some cases, that's all fine and well. But for sellers who want to create a cohesive brand experience throughout every aspect of their packaging, that's not going to cut it. Imagine if your significant other got down on one knee and pulled out a ring box that looked beautiful on the outside, but when they opened the lid, the ring was just rattling around at the bottom next to some packing peanuts. The interior arrangement of a box can have a big impact on the customer experience, but there just aren't any players on the market that allow small businesses to design custom interior layouts for their packaging. Until now. Here at Box Labs, we're thinking inside the box. We provide small businesses with an easy-to-use online platform that allows them to design custom interior layouts for their packaging. No more air pillows or packing paper. We're talking custom-cut, custom-printed infills that allow merchants to create a complete unboxing experience for their product. The Box Labs interface uses familiar drag and drop tools that make it easy for anyone to start creating packaging. No design skills required. Start with a stock template from our catalog, then add graphics, text, and custom-sized cutouts to complete the experience. Order as many or as few as you'd like. There's no minimum order size, which makes it easy for a business to fine-tune their packaging. Need some stickers, business cards, or return address labels? While you're at it, we'll do those for you too. Our target market centers on small artisan businesses that sell premium products at high margins, like jewelers, distilleries, and fashion boutiques. Both the supply and the demand for these kinds of unique goods have been growing rapidly. Etsy, an online marketplace for artists and makers, has seen an average of 31% compound annual growth in their revenue since 2015. In that same period, the number of active sellers on Etsy rose by almost 950,000, for a total of 2.5 million active sellers at the end of 2019. Other marketplaces for artistic goods, such as Redbubble, have also seen big increases in both their annual revenue and number of active sellers. Consumer demand for artisan goods continues to grow, and Box Labs is an ideal solution for small merchants looking to add that extra touch to their packaging that makes the consumer feel like they've bought something special. The needs of a small business can change quickly, and so Box Labs' pricing model is designed to allow small businesses to easily adapt to changes in demand. Ad hoc orders are always an option with us, but for merchants who want to enjoy discounts associated with recurring purchases while still retaining flexibility, Box Labs offers a unique subscription model that lets businesses maintain control over how much and what kind of packaging they buy. Rather than locking you into a fixed order of X number of boxes per month, a Box Labs subscription gives you store credit, which can be used for any of the items in our catalog. Since we, the company, get the guarantee of recurring revenue, we can offer a better price on boxes purchased with store credit as compared to cash. It's a great way for small businesses to reap the benefits of bulk purchases without having to enter into a formal production contract. Now, to be fair, Box Labs is far from the only player in the custom packaging market. But behind all the flashy web interfaces of our competitors, a fundamental fact remains. Our competitors only let you customize the cardboard. Box Labs opens the gates for small businesses to create custom interior layouts, something you can't find anywhere else on the market. We connect a previously underserved market segment to a packaging feature that consumers are already familiar with, and in some cases have even come to expect from boutique goods. So why are we the people to pull this off? Our team brings together a diverse and targeted collection of skill sets, including CS, mechanical engineering, graphic design, and more. Many of us already have experience working on large-scale technical projects, and we know the kind of commitment it takes to bring an idea like this to fruition. Building a hardware business can be a bumpy road, but we're ready to take on the challenge. Even though our website isn't ready yet, we've already started working with front-range businesses to bring their ideas to life. In partnership with Keem's Cake Pops, a Denver-based confectionery, we've drafted concepts for both individual and bulk packaging of cake pops, and are currently working on prototypes for special-purpose cake pop displays for events like weddings or corporate functions. We make it easy for anyone to create beautiful packaging, both inside and out. By introducing the ability for small businesses to create custom interior layouts for their packaging, Box Labs helps to enhance brand impressions, deliver a higher quality product feel, and produce happier, more engaged customers. Now that's thinking inside the box. Thank you.
All right, so it looks like I'm having trouble starting my video again. So we'll go ahead and start the Q&A starting now.
Great presentation. Let's jump right in. So how do you think about the cost to small businesses right now of really adding anything that cuts into their margins, and how you get them excited about, if you're creating something inside the box where arguably that your competitors don't have that, is there additional cost to sort of building that functionality into the interior? And so is this going to be more expensive for them? The experience might be great for the customer. It's harder for them to sort of like really understand, I think, some of the ROI on that. So how do you think about working with your customers on that?
Sure. Cole, do you want to take that one?
Yeah. So basically, in terms of how this is going to help out our customers, It's really an investment into the brand experience that that person is going to remember of our brand. So we're hoping that the small businesses are willing to invest on the side that they want their customers to really remember their brands. And one thing that we were thinking about when we were creating this idea is a lot of us, we end up keeping great boxes that we get when we order things to, keep whatever and keep coins in or keepsakes. And if we are able to really create that experience, that's can be a massive ROI for those small businesses. And that each time you go back and see those boxes, for whatever reason, you're going to remember that brand name. You're going to rethink of that product, and you're going to think, hey, maybe I might want to buy some more of that.
Another particular reason that we focus on high margin businesses is because they can more easily write off the cost of a box that might be more expensive as, a marketing campaign to improve their NPS. Whereas with a lower margin business, like they want every last cent of their bottom line going towards, their wallets and not towards a fancy packaging experience that doesn't necessarily provide that much tangible or intangible benefit to them.
How are you thinking about design, like the design sort of aspect of this? Like, do you see yourself creating like almost like a what you see is what you get, like editor to lay out the box themselves, or that's a part that obviously there's a ton of energy that goes in packaging design. Like we did that at Occipital for a lot of our hardware products, and that's like a process involving design through manufacturing in China for cost reasons and all this stuff. But how are you thinking about the scaling up the sort of design part of it?
Yeah, Andy, do you want to tee that one off?
Yeah, for sure. Part of the inspiration for us was sites like Custom Ink, where you can start with like a particular style of shirt or a piece of clothing and then add designs on top of that. So the idea we're thinking of is you start by picking your product type, whether it's like a wine bottle or a specific piece of jewelry. And from there's certain templates you can choose. And then there's like a drag and drop interface where you can customize from there. So the idea is just having a select amount of templates that people can choose from. And then we already have like the pre-built like laser cutting or whatever it is to manufacture those items. And then people can customize on top of those with like different printing techniques.
Cool. Another thing about the interface that we think is a benefit to consumers is we sort of take care of all the sizing for you. So you don't have to worry about, oh, I'm boxing a wine bottle. Do I need, a 10 by 10 by 4 or a 10 by 10 by 6? Like, you don't have to worry about that. We provide templates that aren't just, graphic designs that are pre-made, but they're also product specific. So no matter what kind of, wine bottle package or, earring package you buy from us, it's gonna fit. We take that off your plate.
Talk a little bit more about that point and how much service you're going to have to provide to each one-off customer to be able to do that and the ability to actually scale this.
For our business, we definitely want to start local because, Silicon Flatirons and Startup Summer have given us so many great connections that we might as well start here. So in terms of, making sure that the customization comes out exactly as the customer wants it, at the start, we can just, go and meet with a customer and, bring along some prototypes and, test fit to make sure. Going forward, we might be able to offer an option where, if a customer is committing to buy, say, 1,000 boxes, then, it's nothing for us to send out, a couple prototypes and say, all right, would you like A, B, or C? Which one fits better?
Sarah, we at time?
Yes, we are. Thanks for checking in with that. So we are at time, and so that is all of the pitches and all of the Q&As for tonight. A round of applause. And so now we are going to do the jury deliberation. Been working at a courthouse too long this summer. We are going to do the judges' deliberation. And so the judges are going to go into another virtual Zoom room and deliberate for 10 minutes on which order of teams should go with which and how the prizes should be distributed. And so then we'll all come back and award all the awards, and it will be an exciting end of the night. While the judges are in the deliberation room, we will start off with our polling for the Audience Choice Award. And so for the polling, I can share the vote slide. There we go. So this is for a $1,000 Audience Choice Award to the team who all the audience thought was the most best team of the night. And this can be based on all of the criteria that Brad mentioned at the beginning of the night. And also that includes the bonus criteria of you just really liked it. So the poll is now popping up on your screen. We will have the poll close in 2 minutes.
We are at 76% reporting, 77. I am loving the stats that we get. This is pretty smooth.
All right, and so while we are waiting for those final stats to come in, I will share our group photo that we had to do a makeshift group photo for Startup Summer since we weren't able to all be in person. We did via virtually. And so we have a little fun graphic. Hopefully that showed all fun and dandy like it was. So this is just some of the students that you were able to see throughout the Q&A tonight. We are very thankful for how fun it was and how fun all the different events were, and that we were able to get some sort of picture all together. Really excited. All right, so that is time for the poll. And the next thing that we have on the docket or the agenda, depending on which realm of law or entrepreneurship you're coming from, we have the judge deliberation activity. So how this is going to work is I'm going to say a question for the participants because we still have our participants that are involved in all the teams and I'm going to say a question and I'll repeat it twice to make sure that all the participants hear it clearly, and then you have the raise your hand function, and so you're welcome to raise your hand to answer the question and I will call on you. So the first question is complete the following. The best thing I got from Startup Summer was, and to repeat that question, it's complete the following. The best thing I got from Startup Summer was. So if you have an answer for that, please raise your hand and I'd like to call on you. And then if Sarah Schnickgren is on, if you could copy and paste that question in. All right, let's go with Andrew Brodsky. You can unmute yourself and we would love to hear from you. Vanessa, are you hearing from him?
Oh, I see him coming in now. It might just be taking a second for his video to come.
Hello, I'm here.
Hi.
I was going to say that, as a mechanical engineer, I think in terms of physical things a lot. And most of all, I'm really pleased at how many, quote unquote, tools I've come away with from Startup Summer in terms of, how to start a business, how to, deal with accelerators and venture capital, where to look to find information about target markets. All of that has been a really great experience and a really great resource to have.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Andrew, for that response. Let's go ahead and promote Sandeep.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes.
Awesome. I think the best thing that I came away with this was just the connections. Me and my team got really close over like the past couple of weeks, kind of just always talking in our group chat, and there's a lot of banter that we have that kind of, I think I'll just maintain forever.
That's so great to hear. Yeah, y'all had a really great, fun team. I was excited to join in some of those team meetings. So grateful to have your team a part of the program.
Thank you. We had a great time.
That's good. All right, so for the next team, or for the next question, we have complete the following. The strangest or weirdest thing that happened during startup summer was. So complete the following. The strangest or weirdest thing that happened during startup summer was, and Sarah will post that in the chat as well. And be creative, I guess, and be thoughtful of people's feelings.
Think about like where you were and you had to tune into a seminar and you had to find internet, or any type of situation came into your household and you had to scramble so that you could get ready for the seminar. I'm sure everyone's had a lot of obstacles with being remote this summer. Here we go. Evan's got one. I will promote him.
Yeah, it sounded like you were speaking from experience, Vanessa, though. So might have to call on you next.
Did I make it in?
Yes. Hear you,
All
Evan.
right, cool. So for the second startup summer night, on that the second Tuesday meeting we had, I was supposed to be back from a flight from a like vacation trip, but because of COVID, that had turned into a road trip. So we were coming back late from the mountains, and I had hardly any reception. So I had to have someone, Sandeep, I had phoned me in for getting into the meeting because I didn't have any other way. So through like 3 different layers, I kind of got to tune in and listen to the pitch about ideation.
Awesome. We're glad you were able to join.
Thank you for being so determined. That is impressive. Looks like Priscilla also has an answer, so I will allow her to talk.
Sound good?
Hi. Okay, so this is a little embarrassing, not gonna lie. It was the very first night that we met for Startup Summer, and if I haven't ever mentioned here, I love TikTok, and for a while, roller skates were really popular on TikTok. And I bought roller skates, and it was my first night riding them, and I had my entire night planned around Startup Summer because I really wanted to be there and really wanted to be impressive. And I went down to my garage and I was like skating around, and I was like, I'm going to use this hour to skate and everything is going to be great. And then I got a notification on my phone asking if I still wanted to be to attend this Startup Summer meeting. And I realized that I had been roller skating during the time where we were supposed to meet, and I was freaking out. And on my roller skates, I started running, forgetting that I was on roller skates, and fell down and then like scrambled up the stairs and then came I think 15 minutes late, which is still embarrassing, but I made it, and I was very proud of myself. I also fell really hard recently on roller skating, and I have not gone back to roller skating since. So that's my strange and very embarrassing story.
Well, we appreciate also your hard and concerted effort to join that seminar, and we have appreciated you joining all the seminars. You have been an amazing participant for Startup Summer, Priscilla.
Thank you. That's gonna make me cry.
So we'll move on to the next question. So the next question we have is complete the following. What is the biggest benefit from Startup Summer 2020 being virtual? So complete the following. What is the biggest benefit from Startup Summer 2020 being virtual? All right, so Kaushik.
All right, you're in, Kaushik. We can hear you.
Do you guys hear me?
Yep.
Great. Yeah, so first of all, thank you to everybody facilitating this program. I think the best part of it being virtual was actually I was going to have to commute from the Denver area to Boulder on Tuesday nights all the time if this was an in-person program. And so I'm glad that it actually went virtual, so I didn't have to do that part of the commute. And I thought you guys did a great job of just kind of maintaining that connection with all of the panelists and all of the people that presented during each of our sessions, even though it was virtual. And so I thought that was really amazing, and thank you guys so much.
Thank you, Kaushik. You were always 5 minutes to 10 minutes ahead on every single seminar and stayed late, and we appreciated that, and we recognized your hard work and your professionalism with the whole entire program.
Thank you so much, SK. Really appreciate it.
While we hate not being in person, it does allow for a certain amount of flexibility, including whether we're in pants or shorts or flip-flops or bare feet.
And a shout out to Sarah Schnittgren's answer to this question that I completely agree with. The fact that this program was virtual this summer allowed for a lot of amazing speakers from all across the country to be able to come in during the summer, because they were able to come in for just an hour or 30 minutes. And that was just incredible to be able to allow that kind of flexibility with schedules and with being in different locations. So we appreciate the speakers once again, and we're grateful that we were able to have that kind of quality of speakers this summer. All right. Vanessa, how are we doing on the judges' deliberation?
Well, I assume Brad is going to be back as soon as he can. So until then, we can keep talking about the other stuff.
All right, perfect. So the next question is, complete the following. The biggest Zoom distraction I had to conquer this summer was, or is, complete the following. The biggest Zoom distraction I have had to conquer this summer is, and so you can raise your blue hand, and we'll go ahead and open this question up to all the participants, because we've all had to use, or most everyone has had to use Zoom in some form this summer as well. So if there's any fun Zoom distractions to hear from, we'd love to hear them.
I know we've had a few on the Silicon Flatirons team at the very least, and that some of them are listening right now. But it's not impossible to cold call someone, SK, if you want to.
Yeah, I'll first, as we're waiting for people to do a hand up, I know that my pet cat has been a Zoom distraction. Sometimes I forget to close the door to my room, and she'll come out and straggle and meow during our startup summer meetings. So that is a definite Zoom distraction.
Well, Omar has an answer, so I'll let him chime in here. Omar, what was your biggest distraction?
Yeah, mine was I'm home right now, and I have two younger siblings, one that's 10 months old and another that's 18 months old. So it was a little difficult sometimes to stay focused with them playing around upstairs and running around and doing all their stuff.
Well, we appreciate you coming in and doing Zoom with that kind of distraction, but also that kind of commitment and family with you. You have been an incredible asset for Startup Summer Program. I have loved talking photography with you.
Thank you so much, SK. I really enjoy all of our conversations, and you've been amazing throughout the program.
Thank you so much. Well, it looks like we have our judges back from deliberation. And so we will go into presenting the awards shortly. But first, I want to hear in 30 seconds or less from each of the judges, what is the one thing that sticks in your mind from the pitches as a whole that you heard tonight? So in 30 seconds or less, one thing that sticks into your mind.
Jacqueline, you want to bat lead off? By the way, or Jacqueline relayed to me when we talked about tap dancing earlier tonight, she has a tap dance background. So Jacqueline, 30-second summary or the tap dancing.
I have to pick. I'll just do my summary. Thank you. I think the thing that stuck with me is I'm just like so impressed by the ability to put these presentations together. They were all really polished. and not like you're all working on other stuff, and you really like got yourselves in the mindset of I'm building this business, and you answered the questions as such, and you built the presentations as such. So just, you know, really impressed.
Yeah. I'll add to that. And yeah, I think the fact this was done on like nights and weekends is very impressive. And I think one aspect that's particularly impressive was I think all of the presentations had a pretty clear, at least, description around go to market and how that was going to go. And so it seemed like there was a good amount of customer discovery as well. So it wasn't sort of, the typical sort of 3 engineers in search of have a bunch of code and they're looking for a problem. It was much more like, from the customer point of view, and actually a lot of customer discovery done, which is really awesome.
Yeah, for me, what I would say is what I tell everybody when they ask what does they look for in employees, and it's curious, thoughtful go-getters. And what I would say is, you guys were curious to solve a problem, you were thoughtful in your approach, and you went after it. And it's so inspiring to see the multitude of ideas that touch your lives and other people's lives, whether you're solving a problem that you lived and breathed, to one that maybe you saw looking from the outside in, or inside out. But it was very inspiring to see that, and love these events because of the inspiration that you as the students bring, the quality of the work, the presentations, the video quality. Wow. I mean, just really, really impressive. It's one of those things that doesn't need a qualifier. It's impressive as it stands on its own. It's not about being a student. It's not about being, part of a startup community. It's just, wow. So fantastic work.
Well, thank you so much, Hannah, for those kind words, and to the judges for all of the effort and for the amazing feedback you provided for each of the teams, and for sitting in a room with Brad. Just kidding, he is still my boss. So we are now ready to present the awards. The night has come, and we will do it quickly and swiftly. That is not any notion to what the teams are. So first off, to present some awards, we're going to first start with the Audience Choice Award. So the Audience Choice Award is a $1,000 award. And that one was done by polling while the judges were in deliberation. And that award goes to, drum roll please, Notice. So Notice, you have won the $1,000 Audience Choice Award. And then, so congratulations. And a reminder that Sarah Schnickren will be in contact with how to coordinate prizes. And next we will have the 5th, 6th, and 7th place. And so 5th, 6th, and 7th places, I will share some slides to help guide us along real quick. So for 5th, 6th, and 7th place, in no particular order, we have Box Labs, Wizard, and Gaio. Again, in no particular order, so each team will get $500, and again, be on the lookout for an email from Sarah on how to receive those prize money. And then next, we have 4th place, so drum roll please. And 4th place will be $1,000. We have Team Buff Stuff won 4th place. So if we can have Hannah come on for Team Buff Stuff, or Morgan, whichever one is available, if Vanessa is able. And we'll have Hannah or Morgan come on to say what has been the most valuable experience from Startup Summer. This is the team of the 2 women, and we are grateful that we were able to hear from them and to see their pitch.
SK, does Hannah know the question?
I was kicked out when I heard the question.
Oh, perfect. So the question is, what has been the most valuable experience from Startup Summer? And go in like 30 seconds or less.
I think both the connections and the making it seem more real, the availability of starting your own business and the process of that, it makes a lot more sense, but also the connection with Morgan and the speakers and the other members.
Thank you so much, and congratulations on 4th place and the $1,000 prize. Y'all did such hard work, and we recognize that, and I'm glad we get to celebrate you guys.
Yeah, thank you so much. It was a great experience.
Oh. And so for the next
Sorry, off, my bad.
That was okay. So for 3rd place, will get $2,000. And so 3rd place, drum roll please, is Team Vigs. So Vigs was the comedy and doing it for COVID. And so if Dylan is available and is able to come on, let's promote Dylan to answer the similar question, or the same question, of what was his most valuable experience in 30 seconds or less. Go ahead, Dylan.
Yeah, so I think the most valuable experience for me has been like at the beginning, we all had these simple 1-minute pitches that was literally just the idea. And being able to kind of see how everyone has progressed and expanded that into 7 fantastic ideas with fully fleshed out videos, I think is just a testament to kind of the path Startup Summer has put us on. And it's been an incredible experience, not just working on my team, but seeing how all the other teams have kind of grown and expanded into fully fleshed out ideas.
Yeah, thank you so much, Dylan. And thank you so much for all your hard work, and congratulations on 3rd place.
Thank you so much.
All right, and so for the next place, we have 2nd place, drum roll please, virtual drum roll, is Team Swift. This was the sneaker one that everybody was dancing to and tap dancing to. So if we could have either Shane or Sandeep come on for Team Swift and talk about what has been the most valuable experience, in 30 seconds or less. And congratulations.
Hey, kind of just what I was saying earlier on, just being able to work with the team. We just had a great bond, and we're just going to keep moving forward with the product, I guess. So just being able to meet everyone, that was the best part.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
We appreciate all y'all's hard work, and you had a really fun video. Everybody was dancing and very memorable. All right, and so last but not least, and what is the team left is Team Notice has won the 1st place spot and won $5,000. And they are the champions of the Startup Summer Final Pitch Night. So if we can have Priscilla come on and talk about what has been her most valuable experience from Startup Summer in 30 seconds or less. Congratulations, you won 1st place. So cute.
I missed part of your question because my whole body is shaking right now so vigorously. What was the question? Sorry.
What has been your most valuable experience from Startup Summer?
Oh my gosh. I mean, kicking this chair back when I just learned that we won the audience choice award was already super crazy. But my team, I will say, and I've spoken with so many other kids in this program. I'm really close with Sandeep. He's been helping me find shoes like every single day. I mean, he's amazing. And just every single kid, first of all, is insanely smart. I mean, I lost a little bit of hope about my generation, and wow, have I been like way put back on the spectrum. Even my sister said the same exact thing when she tuned in. But my team specifically, I will say I have never been put in such a situation where I feel so motivated and so like such a group effort to complete something with so much passion before. one of the #1 things that we talked about was how much like we all liked, working in team projects, but we never felt like really cohesive before. Wow, sorry, I was like screaming earlier, so this is like, like my whole body again is shaking. Thank you so much. I can't express how grateful we are. We put so much work into this, and I know every team did. I'm just, thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Congratulations. Well, you said everything so well, and obviously you are deserving. You are so excited, and to hear you talk about the other teams and the other participants just shows the quality of the character your team has and the quality of the character of who you are. And so we really appreciate everything that your team has done, all the hard work of all the teams, and we are so grateful for this program, and congratulations on first place and $5,000 prize, as well as the Audience Choice Award. It's well deserved. So congratulations. And so that is, stop screen share. So that is the wrap up for tonight. Those are all the awards I have to give out. We did have some perfect attendance awards that were $100 each for each person. We had 14 students that came to every single session. And so we were able to also award those students as well. And so we'll post those after this night ends. But congratulations to all the teams. You did amazing work. This just, as Priscilla said, just gives us hope in the next generation, which I think I'm a part of. But I'm so excited, and it has been an honor to be in this position to get to celebrate all the students and all their hard work. And I appreciate the sponsors, Anchor Point, the Caruso Foundation, and Zayo, as well as the judges for taking time. I really appreciate all of this and the Startup Summer team for making tonight what it was. And I look forward to the rest of the summer. Have a great night, y'all.
Congratulations. Thanks to everybody.
Thank you, Brad, who's always the mastermind, the backbone. Thank you, Brad.
Yeah.
Congratulations, and team members, Startup Summer participants. You really did us proud. Have a good night.
Thank
Congrats,
you.
everyone.
You guys were amazing.